Yo, as Cheats would say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thursday Night Black Baseball Mixtape. But as you can tell, I am not Cheats. It's Flobo Boyce from the Monday crew filling in for the brand Poobah himself. But I'm being joined by the legend, Louis Brinson. What's going on, sir? Hanging out here Thursday night, Black Baseball Mixtape Pod?
Hey man, good to have you on Thursdays, man. I'm not invited to the party on the regular nights, but it's good to have you, Flobo man, bringing the energy, always bringing good energy, man. Taking over for Cheats, so let's have a good one.
Yo, I
Glad to be
appreciate that.
back.
But no, when they want to do a big episode, they give you the call. You get the call up on Mondays when it's like, yo, we need a real
That's
pod.
that. Yeah, that's encouraging. That's encouraging. The big shows, I get the call up, so I'm always ready.
Yeah, we got a lot to get into in this edition of the Black Baseball Mixtape Pod. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the AL Central, the managerial shuffling around of chairs, of course, the Pete Rose deal as well. Before we go into our top story today, we got to give it up to the sponsors to help this show and this platform be something that's actually legitimate and growing. So definitely Steelo Sports, the Players Alliance, and Minority Prospect. The three of them are like the big three when it comes to supporting the platform. And we got to give it up to the Red, Black, and Green Baseball blog. We've got a lot of written content coming from that platform on blackbaseballmixtape.com. But you just don't listen without letting us give something back to you. You got to give it up for Number Game Scorecards. Make sure you use promo code BBM for 10% off of your order. And Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds. I may talk about that a little bit later on the show because I think they're delicious. Also use the promo code BBM for 10% off of your order. Tell them the Black Baseball Mixtape sent you and get a little off the top. But talking about the top of the order there, Lewis, my
Yes,
man,
sir.
Tony Kemp, officially retiring after 9 seasons in the bigs, man. It was kind of interesting. I want to read this quote. It was a bit of a social media post, and I'm
Hmm.
paraphrasing here. Just quote, after 12 years of professional baseball and 9 seasons in the big leagues, I decided to hang up the spikes. To the undersized ball player, I see you, I hear you, and I understand you. With all the metrics and data in the game of baseball today, there is one measurement they can't compute: your heart. Continue to play the game the right way and respect it. The game will reward you, I promise. Shout out to the former A's, Astros, Orioles, and Cubs player, Tony Kemp, done after 9 years in the game.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to Tony Kemp, man. We played against each other in the minor leagues, a little bit in the big leagues, man. Great, gritty player. Like I said, heart doesn't measure, or height doesn't measure heart. Shout out to Stroman on that. But
Yeah.
great player. Gritty, scrappy. Was like a squirrel out there, man. Great leadoff hitter. Just great person. We've hung out outside the game and had conversations. And great person. Congratulations on a great career, man. I'm sure you want to play longer, as we all do, as we want to play till we're 50. But
Yeah.
like I said, great career, and good luck to him, whatever he decides to do after ball.
Maybe I'm on the outside looking in here. You watch like movies and TV shows about the athlete that has to hang it up, and it's a very heavy decision. But what really goes through your mind specifically? What part of it is Hollywood? What part of it is actually the thought process that you think goes through someone's mind when they say, "Look, I'm done."
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, just from personal experience, I mean, you get to a point when you start making financial and family decisions and life decisions at the end of your career. Obviously, if teams aren't calling, you're not getting that one team that calls you, or you're just you're not feeling up to it. Derek Jeter told me when he was our owner with the Marlins. It's like, you'll know, and a lot of veterans, actually not just him, but a lot of veterans have told me, hey, you'll know when you're done. When you go through an off season and you just don't want to put in the work anymore, you don't want to go through the training days, you don't want to go through the long training days and then have to go through spring training, and then you never know if you're going to make the team, and a lot of stuff's up in the air. And you start to make financial decisions. Do I want to keep playing ball? Do I want to go and do independent ball? Do I want to go to Mexico? Do I want to go overseas? Ultimately, it's to get back to the big leagues, but sometimes it's for just to earn a check. Honestly, you get to a point where you're not playing for the love of the game. You're just playing to earn a check and earn a living, and that's when it turns into a job. And when it turns into a job, it's time to consider something else. So it's different for certain guys. Certain guys can choose when they're done. And I think every player going into professional ball or any sports would like to retire on their own terms, but it's not the case for all of us. And sometimes you gotta make a life decision, family decision, and I think this is what Tony Kemp was best thought was best for him and his family right now. And again, we don't know the inside stories of why he retired, truly, but sometimes the game just kind of leaves you a little bit in your heart. Again, speaking from personal experience, I just couldn't see myself wanting to wake up every day and get better. And I knew once that feeling left, I knew it was time to hang it up and try to do something else. So luckily, or hopefully, Tony again has something that he wants to do outside of the game. Again, smart dude. Went to Vanderbilt, smart guy school. You know what I'm saying?
You
I
need
think
more
he
of
has
those,
a
man.
lot to fall back on, and hopefully he can find something that he's interested in, and start the second half of his career.
Yeah, Tony Kemp is as of this recording 33 years old, so still has a
Mhm.
whole life ahead. He's not
Oh
like
yeah,
a normal,
yeah,
yeah, he's not like Gandalf the Grey. I was actually
absolutely.
trying to figure out service time here. At 9 years, puts him kind of in the middle of what you usually accrue as a major league player. He's over 8 years, which means he gets the lifetime pass, the golden ticket to go see the
Yeah,
best game in the house. But
yeah.
he's shy of the 10-year threshold, which gives him the $275,000 full MLB pension. And so
Yeah.
I remember that it could be factored into it too when you're in those two tiers trying to decide where you're gonna go, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, everybody's trying to get to 10 years, and you're trying to just scrap and claw and trick them a little bit more, a couple more days in the big leagues, but these teams also know how many days you need, and sometimes it works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. And for Tony, I know he wished he could have made it to that 10-year mark to get that full pension. But so again, sometimes the game just kind of tells you otherwise, what you could do otherwise. So I know that was in the back of his mind, and anybody that has played big league baseball is rooting for Tony Kemp to get that. Was rooting for Tony Kemp to get that 10-year threshold, but it is what it is. I'm sure he's happy with his career. And again, good luck to him. He's going to do great things outside the game for sure.
Yeah, best of luck to Tony Kemp, and I think the
Mhm.
Black Baseball Mixtape X account had gave him a bit of a tip of the cap earlier today. But
Yeah.
uh,
Got to have
let,
him on
let
the show now. Got to have him on
we
the show,
got to,
man.
right? But
Yeah.
Cheese is like the man who's making it happen. Like you two
Hmm.
finger clicks and they're on there. Like, okay, here's my little feature. I'm like, how do you do that, Cheese? He goes, I don't know, man. It's magic.
Magic fingers, man. I got the
He'd be
magic
like
touch.
that.
Yeah.
But let's shift over to our top story when it comes to the game of baseball active right now. It's that hot AL Central as we record this. If the MLB season were to end today, 4 of the 5 AL Central teams would be playoff bound, which is just amazing because
Amazing.
nobody called that happening at our prediction show. But no team is hotter than the Twins, man. St. Paul's, Minneapolis coming together, sitting on 11 straight. Lois, what's going on, man?
I think everybody in the baseball world knows what's going on with the Twins. I think that the big three, Buxton, Royce Lewis, and Carlos Correa being healthy in that lineup is huge for this team. Now, watch the game today. Correa went out with the concussion protocol with a collide with Buxton out there. Hate to see that. Just seems like they can't really catch a break when it comes to that. Hopefully he's okay. There's nothing serious. He goes through the protocol. He's back with the team. But I think the biggest thing for me is for Carlos Correa, already won a championship, knows how to win, knows how to be a leader. He was a leader with the Astros. He comes over to the Twins, kind of being the voice and the leading guy in that club, the leading veteran in that clubhouse. I think it all runs through him. And then if you have you have Buxton producing the way he is, I mean, leading the team in pretty much every offensive category right now. And then you got Royce Lewis, and we see what he can do when he's healthy. I
Right.
think the team just kind of follows those guys' lead. He's like, okay, we recognize these are our 3 guys. These are our main 3 guys. If these guys are on the field producing, for the most part, we're going to be okay. And with this rotation as well, this rotation is doing wonders as well. The bullpen's doing great. I think they're just playing as a unit. And again, going back to Correa, I think he just has those guys playing together. I think he just has those guys realizing, hey, listen, we're a good team. I know, past things have been past things, and we haven't got to where we need to or where we wanted to in the past, but we have a good team. If everybody's healthy, we know what we can do on the field. We know we can compete with the best teams in the league. We made it to the playoffs, not as far as they wanted to, but they know they can get there. And I think they're seeing that now. Again, early sample size. We'll see how the rest of the year plays out. Again, injuries play a big part in that. But if they can have a full roster, I would love to see what this team looks like at the end of the year with a full season of Byron Bucks, a full season of Lewis, and a full season of Correa, and just mix and mold all those guys. And they're really getting it from up and down the lineup. Honestly,
Yeah.
anybody that gets called up, anybody that gets plugged in is doing their job. And on winning streaks like this, you need different guys to step up every single day. Can't just be your big superstars every day, because that's just not how life or baseball works.
Hmm.
So I commend guys like Lee in there. I commend guys like Larnick. I commend guys like Bader, Harrison Bader, being probably behind Buxton, their top offensive guy right now, just stepping in and creating a winning culture and creating a culture inside that clubhouse to be able to be the team that they know they can be. And they look great right now, man. 11 straight wins is crazy.
Absolutely. I can't go in the time machine because baseball doesn't work like that. But I always wonder
Mhm.
what the makeup of the Twins would be today if Correa was shipped off to the Giants or the Mets that season when those physicals results weren't that great. But you're right. Like, you can't knock it. I mean, maybe I'm going to be a little bit of a hater here. Hey. And say the Twins were hot last season too. But
Yeah.
somehow August came, September came, and the wheels just fell off. And is it crazy for me to think or to be cautiously optimistic given how far they came or went down a year ago this year?
I don't think so, because again, like I said, small sample size is early. It's mid-May. Got a long season ahead of you. I think they played 42 games so far.
Not bad.
And again, guys got to stay healthy. Pitching staff, position players, you got to stay healthy. It's a long year. You're gonna go through ups and downs. They're gonna go through. I hope they don't, but they're gonna go through a stretch where they can't win a game, or they're losing a bunch of one run games. A pitcher's going to get hurt. Their key piece of their bullpen's going to get hurt. Like, different things happen during the season that you just can't control and you can't predict. So that's why these guys on the bench and these guys that get called up do need to be ready and step up when their numbers is called. Now, again, they look great as a team. Again,
Yeah.
small sample size, but as a team, if they could stay together, I think the sky's the limit for the Twins. Now we'll see, because this American League Central is serious, as we've seen. The
Hmm.
Tigers are running away with the division early,
Right.
but it seems like. But I mean, again, you got to see what it looks like in August. You got to see what it looks like when it when it comes to um, down the stretch, pennant races and playoff baseball, what this team looks like, and if they can step up when it really matters.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Buxton. I mean, I think about a season and a half ago, not saying everyone wrote him off, but it was kind of like hey, he can't stay healthy. Here's, what could it
Yeah.
be? This is his lost potential. And I think here's a really kind of an odd point of his career to have a prove it year, but he's showing it out in spades. And that AL Central is pretty strong. I mean, even the Chicago White Sox, which are far and away the weakest team in the AL Central, is
Mhm.
going 800 since a local hero, Pope Leo, has been
Yeah.
installed as
I was
Pope.
about to say, yeah.
They're on a tear, man. Like, it's
Right.
crazy right now. You know?
Say, like I said, the Central's looking good. I mean, it looks like the best division in baseball right now. Now we know, the other division over there on the other league, the NL West is nothing to mess with. But you just have teams that are gritty, again, healthy. I preach health, because we'll look at the teams in August and September and see who's in the lineup and see who's contributing, and see if they can kind of keep this pace up. But right now, the AL Central looks like a force to be reckoned with. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Let me ask you from the player's perspective. I always feel like losing streaks are bad, but winning streaks could be worse, right? As far as I hope you don't lose the momentum. Like, what's worse when you're winning night after night and you're saying, when's the party going to stop? Or you just can't buy a game? Or blowouts worse than one-run losses? I mean, what goes through your mind when you're on the streak, positive or negative?
Yeah, I think losing streaks are definitely worse.
For sure, for
Just
sure.
coming to definitely worse. I've been a part of a couple of those. You just come to the ballpark, and sometimes you're just like, man, how are we going to lose today? Honestly,
Hmm.
and it's a debilitating feeling. It's just it's a bad feeling. You could put a bunch of words there, but Losing streaks are definitely worse. When you're winning, I mean, it feels like, everything. Again, somebody is stepping up different every single day, and you're having a party after the game every day. You got the lights going, music going, whatever teams do after they win. Um, but you go on a losing streak, and it's just like day after day. You come to the ballpark. It seems like every day it's raining, and it's just cloudy all the time, and birds ain't chirping. You ain't going out for coffee.
Ain't
You're
you
just
playing a
like, man,
dome,
I'm just
brother?
waiting
Like,
for this day to be over, man.
right.
So yeah, definitely losing streaks are definitely worse, and then winning streaks. I don't think anybody's thinking about, man, when is it going to end? Because eventually it will end. You're not going to go 162-0. You know what I'm saying? So. Eventually, the winning streak will end, but losing streaks, I don't think any team wants to see a significant losing streak. 2 games, 10 games, 20 games. Like, I don't think anybody wants to be a part of a bad losing streak.
Sure. The Minnesota Twins, after today's victory against the Baltimore Orioles, is 24-20 at 545. They're fourth in division behind the Royals at 25-20, the Guards at 25-18, and the Tigers at 29-15. Now, you just mentioned how the Tigers seem to be running with the division early, and I know it's too early to call. You can't win the division yet. You can definitely lose it. Shout out to Chicago.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you had a chance to project the Twins right now, if you're going to do super early prediction, where do you have them lining up after about a month or so of play?
I mean, if this division keeps playing the way it is, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight with all those 4 teams. I think the White Sox are, still ways behind, but I think just those 4 teams are just going to battle it out. Now, the Tigers do look like they're the favorite to win. Again, early sample size, but they're just clicking on all cylinders. I love watching Tigers games now. I mean, any team that they're playing, I'm clicking on to watch the Tigers game. But again, these 4 teams in this division that are competitive, I mean, it's going to be a fight. And I think I see the Twins in the mix. I don't see them falling off again. Hopefully we can keep everybody healthy for the remainder of the season. But I think I see them maybe finishing maybe third. They could finish second depending on other teams' injuries. But again, it's hard to tell this early, like you said. How the division is going to shape out. But I do know the Tigers are the favorite for me, and I think for a lot of people right now to win that division.
All right. Well, I didn't want to put your feet to the fire, but he's like, that's all good. I'm used to that. Shout out to Cheats, who's actually watching live. He did send the news here. The Twins set down Simeon was Richardson today.
Yep.
Just was a straight down. It's unfortunate. A very, very good hand. I mean, hopefully he gets his form back, but he had a rough 2025 season so far.
Yeah, so far he's got a off to a rough start. I mean, like Jace Tingler said, just sit him down. They did have a doubleheader, so they had to make room from a bullpen piece because the bullpen got taxed during the doubleheader. So it's more of that kind of move, but it's also a move to clear your head, get a couple starts in, get your mechanics back or whatever they're working on. It just seems like he just wasn't sure of himself out there.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a sit down, get your head clear, come back up, and contribute to this ball.
Hold on. Look, you got to lie to me, man. Don't lie to the fans. Does that really happen? Or do people go, I got sent down, I'm spiraling, it becomes a panic mode? I feel that happens a lot too. Right?
It does too. It does too. But it just seemed like in this, now they put out whatever they want the media and everybody else to perceive the move as. But it could have been a fact of like them calling him in, like, hey, listen, you're odd man out. I think he had a 4 something ERA, which isn't terrible. You know what I'm saying? Which isn't awful, but odd man out. We need a bullpen piece. We're taxing right now. Got to send you down for 10 days. Give you a chance to get your mind right, get your mechanics right, find your find your curveball, whatever you need to find. Give you a chance to take a reset, take a breath. 2 starts, and I think he's back up. I think it was just a move for this. For honestly, I truly think, and they probably were transparent with him. If they weren't, then they weren't. But I think they were transparent with him when they told him, we got to send you down.
Man, I commend anyone that just takes that assignment, but the food is different in AAA. The physios are different. Like the things to do after the game are different. Like it is a mental strain, man. I don't know.
Yeah, no, 100%. It is a mental strain, regardless of if they tell you, hey, listen, you're making 2 starts, you're coming back up. Regardless,
right?
Like, man, now I'm gonna be down in AAA for 10 days or whatever the case may be, and it's not a rehab start, so it's not like you're on your own schedule. So he's in AAA. He's part of the team. So I mean, it is a letdown, and it is a kind of a setback, if you will. But I don't think in this particular case that it was a complete like, hey, we're gonna send you down because you can't play up here. You know what I'm saying? We don't believe that you're capable of giving us a quality start when you come out there every fifth day. So I think again, I think he'll be back in 2 starts, 3 starts, maybe.
I want to give a shout out to me and MLB The Show, just hanging out in AAA Albuquerque, waiting for the Rockies to call me up. Just come on, man.
The Rockies need you, dog. I don't
That's
know
what
what you're
saying.
hitting, but
I'm
they need you.
saying, dude.
They
Like, come on,
need you.
Albuquerque.
Come
Hey,
on
right.
now. You're probably hitting 350 with 40 homers.
Exactly, man. What are you waiting on, Rockies? What's going on? But let's talk about the Rockies, man. The Colorado Rockies, which I felt under the radar last season with the historic
Right.
season the Chicago White Sox had, are now coming to light. Had to dismiss their manager Bud Black this week, and it isn't the only one. The Pittsburgh Pirates already dismissed Derek Shelton, which was ironically my pick to win Manager of the Year at the top of the show. Musical chairs happening in the management office. I don't
Yeah.
know ball, right, Lou? I mean, dang. But what's going on in Pittsburgh and Colorado right now? Besides that, bringing me up from the show.
I know, right? Well, again, they need to bring you up because something needs to happen in Colorado. But yeah, with Bud Black, I mean, he's gonna first of all, he's good. He's gonna find another job if he wants in baseball, whether it's managing, whether it's bench coach, whether it's in the front office, he'll be fine. He's been in the game long enough and has a good track record. And you see how a lot of those guys were upset and just kind of hurt and felt like it was their fault that he got fired. But again, it goes to the product on the field. You got to put a productive product on the field. It's not the manager's fault. The manager's writing down the names that you got on the roster. So it's not his fault that they have gotten off to a really, really bad start this season. So I hate when, everything falls on the manager. And I felt the same way in 2018. The Marlins let go of our hitting coach at the time, and we weren't doing well. We were in last place. I think we were on a losing streak at the time. Towards the bottom of the list in batting average and pretty much every offensive category, we weren't doing well. So they fired our hitting coach, and everybody in that clubhouse, when they let us know they were going to do it before they have officially announced it, felt like it was our fault. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We're big leaguers. We're out there at the plate. He's not at the plate. He's just giving us as much information and trying to help us as much as he can, but ultimately it's our job to go out there and produce. So it's our bad. You know what I'm saying? So with the Rocky situation, you got to put a productive product on the field at the end of the day. So it sucks, and shout out to Bud Black, because I mean the first 2 years that he was there, he took that team to playoffs. Now that team, you look at that team compared to this team: Nolan Arenado, DJ LeMahieu, Charlie Blackmon, Trevor Story. I mean, they had a squad. Ian Desmond, they had a squad. Carlos Gonzalez. May I go on? Like, they had a squad on that team.
Oh
So
yeah.
I mean, all Blood Black has to do is like, I'm gonna write these guys in because these first 5 guys are all stars every year. Every time we would go play the Rockies, 18, 19, first guy's hitting 320, second guy's hitting 290 with 19 homers. Like, it was just back to back to back. They had a great team, got a great pitching staff. I mean, in Colorado, it's tough to pitch in Colorado. Ball's not moving the same. But he had a great team. Now, those guys end up leaving, get retired, traded, free agency, whatever the case may be. Now you got a team full of young guys that are inexperienced. It's going to happen. It is what it is. It's going to happen the way it's going to happen. But uh, again, shout out to Bud Black. He'll find something somewhere to be in Major League Baseball, whether with the Rockies in the front office or something. I don't know, but probably with another team if he wants to. But it's unfortunate to see because it's on us as players at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
Well, bench coach Don Keller replaced Derek Shelton in Pittsburgh, and third
Mhm.
base coach Warren Schaefer replaced Bud Black with the Rockies. But I want to focus on the Rockies and even the Marlins just for a bit because you have that experience with that team, and
Yeah.
I'm an NL East guy, of course. Let's go Mets. But you talk about teams that historically underachieve, right? And
Right.
and I'm a Mets fan, so technically there are more losing seasons than winning seasons, but the Mets are kind of in this position where they kind of win, they don't. But you have some franchises that are almost synonymous with losing. Keep it 100. But there's
Yeah.
always seems to be this lip service that everyone wants to be competitive. But you wonder if you're a franchise who loses year after year after year, is there something fundamentally wrong about giving people the tools to succeed, or just bad luck, or is baseball built different? Like, what am I missing here?
I mean, it's again, it's just over time you lose your stars, unless you sign everybody to a long-term deal, which you can't do, especially the Rockies. I mean, not the biggest market of teams, so you're not going to lock up a Arenado, you're not going to lock up a Trevor Story, you're not going to lock up, every single guy. You're going to end up losing guys. You're going to end up losing them to free agency, retirement, or just, their time runs out in the city. So with putting young guys on your roster at a certain point, it's like, all right, cool. We're coming off of back-to-back 100 loss seasons. We got to let these young guys just go play. We have young guys in the organization. We have young guys in AAA and AA. We're going to go let them play. Now, when you do that, there's growing pains to go along with that. These guys might not be stars off the bat. You might have one or two guys that go out there and show you what they can do and show their full potential. And you bring these guys up, and all these guys have the highest of high ceilings from all the scouts and getting drafted and all the numbers they put up in the minor leagues. But the big leagues is a different animal. You get up there, pitching's different. You got the fifth, fourth deck, lights are different, cameras are different. All the
Right.
spotlights on you. So that gets the guys, and again, you might have that one or two guys that reach their potential right away, but one or two guys will make up your roster. You got 25, 26 man roster. So, it just kind of works out. Like I said, it's just baseball sometimes. It works out that way, and you try to put a winning product on the field, like their GM and their owner said. Our fans deserve better. Our fans deserve a winning product on the field, and that fan base is very strong for their Rockies out there.
Oh
My
yeah.
experience playing out there, it's
Yeah.
always packed. It's always a vibe. The stadium's always full of energy. So, I mean, it's just tough for those fans and for that organization to not have a winning product. But at the end of the day, not every team, because these big market teams can't really put out any kind of roster. They got to be winning every year. But for a team like the Rockies, you put out a roster that might not win as many games as you think, and you kind of go into the season hoping you make the playoffs or hoping you're in contention, but you also are realistic about the situation and like, all right, listen, this might be a tough season. We're gonna do our best, and we're gonna, go into spring training. You have a meeting, like, hey, listen, I don't care who's in this locker room. I
Yeah.
don't care how many years is in this locker room. I don't care what people are saying about us. We're gonna go out there and try to win every single game, every single day, no matter what. We're gonna play hard. We're gonna put, the best players on the field will play. Like I've been in those meetings in spring training. Like, hey, if you're the best option that day, you're in the lineup. I don't care, who it is, or who's getting paid what, or especially in this situation, it's like, listen, we got to win games. I got to put out a winning product. So at the end of the day, it's all about winning. But you question it sometimes when teams are this bad and get off to this roughest of a start.
It seemed that the players in both these situations here love their managers, right? We've seen
Mhm.
teams turn their managers. I'm thinking about Joe Madden in Anaheim
Yeah.
and Girardi in Philadelphia. But from your perspective, man, I would hate to be in a clubhouse where you're frustrated and then you also lose the respect of your manager. The manager loses control of the clubhouse. Not saying
Mhm.
that's what happened there, but that could be a whole other set of issues if that were to be the case.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You never want to lose control of your clubhouse, but that's where veterans come in, and that's where you have that veteran or to have that leader that keeps everybody together within the clubhouse. Now the manager, manages and kind of puts out fires in that clubhouse and gets everybody motivated and gets everybody moving in the same direction. But at the end of the day, you don't want to lose control of that clubhouse. You don't want to lose the respect of your players. You want to make sure that you're not also, you don't want to make sure you're too, I don't know how to word this, too personable, because there's a lot of guys that there's going to be some guys that you got to give bad news to. There's going to be guys you got to send down. There's going to be guys where you got to let go, designate, whatever the case may be. So there's a fine line of, like, obviously you have the guys that are signed for long-term deals. These guys are going to be here forever. You can kind of build a relationship and kind of ask those guys what's going on in the clubhouse, because obviously
Right.
manager has his own room. He's not in the clubhouse all the time. He's not really feeling the energy all the time. But yeah, as a manager, you never want to lose your clubhouse. You never want to lose your players. But in these two cases, it seemed like the players were upset. They felt, again, they
Mhm.
felt like it was their fault, and it was on them that these guys got let go. But there are cases where they can see internally in the organization that the manager just doesn't have control of the clubhouse and the guys just aren't responding to him. And then which is the case where you let that guy go. Maybe I could
Right.
see where you let that guy go versus a guy that's a tenure guy, a guy that knows what he's doing. He's a baseball dude. He's been in baseball forever. And these players respond well to him. It's just we're not winning. It's not his
Right.
fault. So, yeah.
I want to ask about a very unique position that current Angels manager Ron Washington is in. Because if you hear
Mhm.
anyone talk about Ron, he's been written up on a lot of features just in the past year alone. They love the fact he's intense. He gives everyone the straight deal when needs to be. But he's on a franchise that is slipping in popularity, and with
Yeah.
Anaheim and or Los Angeles, excuse me. And there's
Yeah.
calls to sell the team. I know that whole sell the team thing is increased when you consider the Athletics and the Rays. I mean, is someone like Ron in the hot seat, despite how affable he is, despite how good he is at his job?
I mean, I don't think so. It's been 1 year. Like it's not even been a year yet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he just got there. And I mean, going back in the Angels schedule this year, they've had the 10th hardest schedule this year. So, and they're in last place, but that division is a serious division. um they have Joyce just went down with with a season ending shoulder injury. They have good players, they have good young players. Obviously Mike Trout has got to get back. I think that's a big blow to that whole organization, not just that big league roster, just that whole organization. I think they want to see Mike Trout win more than anything. But I don't think Ron's in the hot seat. I think he has control of that locker room. I think that's one of the guys that guys trust and guys feel they can talk to, or if they're going through something on or off the field. I feel like they can kind of push that on him, and he'll get through. Get through to guys. When I got drafted, just going back to 2012 when he was a manager for the Rangers, it seemed like everybody in that locker room was Adrian Beltre, David Murphy, Josh Hamilton, Nelson Cruz. Had some veterans on that team that controlled that clubhouse. Adrian Beltre was the glue that held all that together. But it just seemed like everybody trusted Ron. And then when he was with the Braves, third base coach for the Braves, it just seemed like playing against them, it just seemed like everybody trusted Ron, and everybody was had Ron's back, and Ron had everybody else's back. So I think it's the same thing with the Angels. Now, again, you just have the product on the field, and they have good players on the field that are having really good seasons. But again, it goes back to the product on the field. I don't think he's in the hot seat, and all this about sell the team. Like, relax. Like they'll be fine at the end of the day. They'll pick it up, but I don't think he's quite in the hot seat yet. I think we got to get a year on our belt now. If they tank terribly and they win 20 or 30 more games this year, then we have a different conversation. But for as of right now, I mean, 17 and 25. I mean, I don't think he's in the hot seat yet.
Yeah, I feel like I understand why fans get frustrated with the franchise and they
I
assume the
understand
team
too.
is
Yeah,
winners,
you
but
understand.
I do feel like the sell the team button has gotten pressed a bunch of times with
Yeah,
outcry over the past couple of years, more normal. Maybe everyone wants to win at once, and I know that there's some teams can't win every single year, but it's true. Shouldn't some franchises have a good run? Maybe that's why it's this huge swell to make changes, sweeping changes now. And so,
yeah. I mean, it's you gotta win. You gotta put a winning product. No franchise or no fans want to come to the ballpark and be like, all right, well, we're probably gonna lose today. Like nobody wants to see that, and nobody wants to go through that as a fan base. And the Angel franchise has been good. Now they haven't been deep in the playoffs good, but they put a decent product on the field with Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon that hasn't really played at all, but they have a good enough product to be competitive on the field, and the fans know that. So, when you're under 500, you're last place. Fans are gonna feel how they're gonna feel. All they want to do is come to the ballpark and see their team win. So, I get it.
Yeah, I'm a like I mentioned this on the Monday Crew a lot. I'm a big nerd, and I play that game, Out of the Park Baseball, which is a general manager simulator, and you get to pick your team and line up and do
Mhm.
acquisitions. And I feel like the Angels do everything right on paper. Like Syndergaard and Rendon are good ideas on paper, but it's just every season it just blew up, whatever it was for them. But that's
I know.
uh,
I don't. I don't know if they have a black cloud over them. I don't know what's going on. A black injury cloud. I don't know what's going on. But their fortune will change soon. I'm gonna rub my crystal ball and say that the Angels fortunes will turn soon. And I know Flobo picked them to win the West.
yeah.
But
Right now, I'm sweating right now saying that,
I
but I did.
I know it's early,
But
but
I
we'll
did say
see.
that.
We'll
No, I
see.
have
I
them winning. I
mean,
haven't gone to the playoffs. I haven't gone to the playoffs.
oh yeah, you did have them go to the playoffs. I'm sorry, you
Yeah.
didn't have them winning. You had them go to the playoffs.
I'm
Doesn't
doing my
look good
short
right
strategy.
now, but we'll see. So it's a long season. We'll see.
They were first place for like 3 days this season. That didn't happen. Before.
That did happen. I just want everybody to know.
All right. Before we move on to our next topic, I just want to say at the beginning of the show here, look, Rebellion Harvest has been a proud supporter of Black Baseball Mixtape, and I, for one, love it. When I'm going out and going to some games around my neighborhood, I make sure I got myself a healthy snack. No cakes, no cookies, just sunflower seeds and ones that taste good. I'm talking about flavors like exotic ranch, off the grill, and my favorite lemon pepper. So shout out to Rebellion Harvest. Go there now, put in the code BBM, and get yourself 10% off the top. Man, Lou, it's been crazy when it comes to baseball, but I got to go back before this week because Commissioner Rob Manfred, on behest of Donald Trump, met, and the details were kind of fuzzy. But
Hmm.
the fallout results of that was Pete Rose. Yeah, that Pete Rose has now been removed from the ineligible list. Doesn't mean he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He has to be voted in by a committee at this point. But since
Yep.
the passing of Pete Rose, he's now off the banned for life list. Before we even get into details, man, first thing that went through your mind when you heard that news.
I mean, I had mixed feelings about it. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I had mixed feelings about it, but I'm glad for him and his family that they can wipe that burden off. That he is off the ineligible list. Um, Now, I mean, he did violate MLB's rules of gambling and betting on baseball. So, I mean, that is the punishment. But I do agree with the commissioner's decision to take him and those guys off once they are deceased, once they are no longer with us, because they do not, propose a threat to the integrity of the game anymore. They're not here. So I do agree with that. And again, I hope I personally, I hope he does get in the Hall of Fame because I mean, listen, man, the guy hit king, 17 All-Star appearances. Like this guy was, should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, let's be real. I mean, but again, we'll see what the baseball writers decide in 2027, right?
Oh,
Is
that's
when
the
they,
earliest he could be. So you have
yeah,
to be brought up by at least one committee and vetted by another committee to be eligible to
right.
be in the Hall of Fame. But so there's a lot to unpack here, just
Mhm.
because of the kind of allegations that Pete Rose was saddled with in his career. Whether or not you believe in the gambling, I think that's a bit easier to defend than did some of the sexual misconduct allegations as well. Just for some
Mhm.
reference, Takubite Marcano was banned or put on the ineligible list for betting on baseball in 2024. Mickey Callaway was on, former Mets manager Mickey Callaway was put on the ineligible list in 2021 for sexual misconduct allegations. But Pete
Mhm.
Rose was always a rallying cry for a lot of people to say, do you erase history by someone, regardless of what they've done, if they find a way to get in the record books and to advance the game on the field? I think that's something we can talk about today because we're going to have situations now, especially with this post social media, one thing can lead to a meltdown world where we have to really decide, are we going to separate the person from what they do, from what they do in the field, or is it still kind of like a convoluted mess at this point?
Yeah, I mean, again, you look at what he did and look at the rule that he did violate, and at the time, putting him on the ineligible list, or the permanently banned list. I mean, I think they were right in doing so. But you look at it now again, all-time hits leader, all the All-Star games, all the accolades, just how his teammates and how the city of St. Louis, or not St. Louis, Cincinnati and Philadelphia, and the teams that he played for, what he meant to those cities. I think we'll say might overshadow that just on the baseball side. I mean, I heard he was a great person, teacher of the game, student of the game, obviously. So you put that in consideration, but I am not a baseball writer, so I can't make that decision of him being in the ultimate, the ultimate achievement, which is the Baseball Hall of Fame. So, for Pete Rose again, I hope he does get a chance to be considered to get in there, just because of his accolades and what he means to the game of baseball. But
Yeah.
again, ultimately, we'll see what they decide.
I'm a fan of baseball. I'm a fan of professional wrestling. I'm a big WWE guy, and it always
Mhm.
seems to be a debate about halls of fame. And I personally have the camp of like, man, they're kind of arbitrary because all the metrics and rubrics we use is so fluid and so different and so changing. And I was saying if you were had a chance to put in the Hall of Fame, you would. I think I would as well, although I'm not sure about this. But there always seems to be a rallying cry about the sanctity of such a thing as a Hall of Fame. And so I
Mhm.
wonder about a lifetime ban saying, well, now that you passed on, it's now
You're
voided
off the
or not.
list. Yeah.
Is that considered the same thing for protecting the Hall of Fame if you're one of those people who care about that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, and those people that care about that sort of thing are the ultimate, are ultimately the guys that are going to decide his fate for the Hall of Fame. And those guys, they don't play nice. We see these guys, Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire, still haven't gotten in, and their accolades are through the roof. But these guys protect the integrity of the game. That's their job, and that's what they take pride in. So again, ultimately, it is their decision to see whether he's in the Hall of Fame or not. Now, I mean, I think I'm pretty sure he's in the Reds Hall of Fame, but again, the ultimate baseball prize, ultimate baseball heaven is that Hall of Fame, that Hall of Fame plaque. But again, we'll see what the baseball writers decide whether to leave him out or put him in. But what does that mean for other guys if he does go in?
Right. And I think
Mm.
the one that comes to my head is Barry Bonds, right? He has to
Yeah,
be in a Hall of. You can't have a Hall of Fame or tell the
without
story of
Barry
baseball
Bonds, I mean,
without
yeah,
Barry Bonds. Like, let's be
yeah.
real.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably the best hitter ever, best
Yeah.
player ever. Yeah.
And I wonder what people are holding on to. That's the thing maybe I have. It's like where is the line for most people? Because I feel like if you can't tell the story of a sport without an individual, they should be considered just I mean, that's just my kind of food for thought. But I've been wrong before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've all been wrong. We've all been wrong before, like I said. But yeah, if you hold that standard of where do you kind of brush all that stuff that happened to the side, and just because when you think of baseball, you think of names like Barry Bonds. The
Mhm.
the 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 main name. I think a lot of people that don't even know about baseball or know players or past players or whatever the case may be. Obviously, we're baseball people, so we know more names than the regular person, but the regular person knows who Barry Bonds is.
Yeah.
Whether, for what he did or what he, accomplished on the field or what he means to the game of baseball. So again, you can't have a conversation of who's the best player in baseball without the name Barry Bonds. So in that aspect, that guy should be in the Hall of Fame. But again, where it's not up to us, it's not up to the regular folk. It's up to these
Right.
baseball writers.
Yeah, the space bar. And look, and I've
Mhm.
been to the Hall of Fame once in my life. I wish
Mhm.
I had more time, but to me, I always tell people the story. So I apologize if you listen to the Monday show. I say it all the time, but there is a museum exhibit for Tommy John surgery. There's a museum exhibit for the OMG sign. There's an exhibit for the Savannah bananas. Like, what are we doing? Like, what? Why are we so uptight about actual history? The bananas
Right,
are in the Hall
right.
of Fame. Come on.
Right. Barry Bonds got to be in the Hall of Fame. If you have a lot of stuff, and I've never been, so I don't know the layout. Or I almost went when I was a kid, and we didn't win the last game to go to Cooperstown. I don't want to talk about it, but um, I've never been.
You
I've never
sure?
been, and hopefully one day I can make a trip up there. But yeah, if you're having all those kind of exhibits and everything like that, you got to have the name Barry Bonds on those walls in there, regardless of what you might think of him or what he did in the past, whether you thought he cheated the game, whether the case may be. Um, he's gotta, in my book, in my Hall of Fame, you gotta have Barry Bonds in there.
I wanted your thought on this quote, and I don't mean to start the pot, but I'm gonna stir it anyway because Chito had me back on Thursday nights. But when the news was announced about Pete Rose being on the ineligible list and being a possibility about being in the Hall of Fame, beleaguered major league pitcher and former Cy Young winner Trevor Bauer had this to say about the situation. His quote: "Since Pete is welcome back now, does that go for everyone who has been blackballed, or do you have to be guilty of something to qualify for that?" End quote. Just any thoughts about Trevor Bauer and his words at this time, sir?
Not really.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
mean,
felt too. I was like, what are you doing, bro?
not really. I feel him. I feel him, especially found out that he didn't do what everybody said he did. But again, everybody's situation is different. Pete Rose has accomplished mega feats in this game. Not to say Trevor Bauer has not, but not to the caliber of a Pete Rose, not to the caliber of a Barry Bonds. Now, do I think Trevor Bauer could come back and dominate? I think he could be a really good major league pitcher again. But again, that's not our decision. That's up to
Right.
Major League Baseball and what they think um, is good for their rosters, or teams are good for their rosters and good for their clubhouse. So again, that's all I'll say about that situation. I hope I think he's in Japan, Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, he's back with
Yeah, he's back in
Nippon, I think.
Japan, and
Yeah,
I think he's thriving over
Stars.
there, and he loves it over there from playing against him. They love him over there, so best of luck to him. And if he does come back, I hope he has a nice rest of his career over here. But ultimately, we'll see what happens with
Uh,
baseball.
just a point of clarification. I said Nippon. He's playing for Yokohama, DNA-based Stars. Just for reference here, both Trevor Bauer and Barry Bonds were technically eligible. They're not on the ineligible list, which is
No,
figure I do that as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I don't get anybody in trouble by spreading falsities. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
no, no, no,
Besides
no.
the
They're
Angels
not. They're not
winning
on
going to the
ineligible
playoffs.
ineligible list. It's more of an unwritten ineligible list, if you
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
Before we wind this down here, man, just off top of the dome, this weekend we're getting rivalry week, right? But
Oh
definitely
man.
the Subway Series is happening. Thoughts about which match that you're checking out? Juan Soto, Yankee Stadium. Give it to me, man.
Definitely Juan Soto back in Yankee Stadium. I mean, there's some really good games out there, and really good series out there. But I mean, everybody's gonna have their eye on Juan Soto's return and how the Yankee fans are gonna receive him, which is going to be. I'm predicting it now, and I'll put my life savings on it that he receives a sea of booze once he gets announced.
That's an easy bet, brother.
Yeah,
That's a way
exactly.
easy.
That's what I'm saying. I'll put all of it on there. But yeah, that's gonna be an interesting series. Him back for the Subway Series. Both teams are in first place in their respective divisions. Both teams are doing well right now. Probably Aaron Judge is probably gonna hit a homer. We'll see about that. But Subway Series is always a great one, great series, full of superstars, honestly. And again, it's fun when both teams are playing really, really well. So it's definitely going to be a playoff atmosphere at Yankee Stadium for sure.
Yankees looking for a bit of revenge. Were swept last season 0 for 4 against the Metropolitans. And well, the thing about Juan Soto, because I know he's not my favorite player, even though he's on my favorite team. People
Mm-hmm.
loved him, and then one day they didn't. And so he was
That's how
asked
baseball
about
works.
it.
That's how life is, man. That's how
Yeah, I
life
mean,
is.
people love winners, so you start winning. But but imagine going into a sea of booze. Now you're an athlete. You go on the road sometime. People boo you for no reason, man. I know they say you block it out and do it, but like, are you a kind of person that takes as fuel, or do you just say I gotta block it out and just concentrate? Like, what was your approach when you were persona non grata in an arena?
When I was, or when Juan
Yeah,
Soto,
when
because
you
I'll talk
were.
about Juan Soto too. But when I was, I mean, I've received it a couple of times, but the one that comes to mind, I was in San Francisco. And my rookie year, I got a big hit off their closer, and me and him kind of got into a shouting match. He threw at me once. I didn't like it. I got a big hit, tied the game, and flipped the bat, said a couple choice words. And the next day, I got introduced my first at bat, sea of booze, sea of booze. And I'm like, oh, snap. I must have done something right. Like initially, like, again, that was my first time hearing like a crowd of booze.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh damn, I must be doing something right because ain't nobody, they ain't booing nobody else when they come up the bat. So and then I got hit. running off the first base, bunch of
Oh
tears. Yeah,
no.
bunch of tears. But somebody like Juan Soto, he feeds off that. You're gonna see him smile. Like he's gonna walk up to the plate tomorrow. He's gonna hear a bunch of boos, and he's gonna smile. I don't know what the result of the at bat is gonna be, but he's gonna smile. He's gonna embrace it. Just like Jazz. Jazz see a boos last year in Kansas City after he said what he said. He's gonna smile. He's gonna embrace it. That just fuels the fire. It adds wood to the flame. So a guy like that, he lives off that, and he'll do just fine. And he's gonna do the Soto shuffle even more tomorrow, guarantee it.
I hate the Soto shuffle, but I hate that roll call even more. I think that's the most cheesiest thing in baseball. But that's another issue for another
As a
time.
player, I would love it. To be honest with you,
Okay, could please walk this through me because I'm just a hater from Queens. I'm from
you
Brooklyn, but
might,
looking
you're
from the Queens
definitely that
side.
definitely is the case.
But
Yes.
but to me, it's kind of entitled, right? I go to a game, I see someone out there, I see a player in the outfield, I go, "Hey, what's going on there, Lou? Woo!" But to sit there and chant their name and to keep chanting until they give you acknowledgement looks pretty entitled. It looks like I want to keep doing it till you say hi to us. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a tradition, though. You know, everybody
Tradition,
knows you
come
play for the
on.
Yankees. You play for the Yankees, you're gonna get roll called, and they embrace it. You see the guys have their, tip their cap. Aaron Judge does his thing. Jazz does the jump shot. Like they embrace it. You ultimately, as a Yankee, now
Yeah,
as guys that are visiting guys, you're like, man, what is going on, bro? Like this is
yeah,
so annoying. But like if you're in the outfield. And I have found the only way to get fans off your back is to acknowledge that that fan is there. When you just sit there and the guy's heckling you, "Hey, Brinson, I hear you," or "I know you hear me. I know you see us up here, blah, 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 blah. You suck. You're batting this. You can't hit. I can hit better." And
yeah.
you don't pay attention, they're gonna keep on you. They're gonna
Okay.
keep at it the entire game. But the moment you're like, "Oh, that was a good one," or you laugh at one, or you throw a ball to a kid, or you acknowledge that they're there, it becomes just a game. You know what I'm saying? It becomes like kind of a cat and mouse game. And then you hit a home run, you point at them, like it. You know what I'm saying? It's fun, but like the fans obviously get into it a little too much sometimes, and some of
Yeah.
y'all need to back off, and some of y'all need to take a deep breath and look yourself in the mirror and relax a little bit. But yeah, for the roll call, I personally, I think it's cool if I was a Yankee fan. If I was a Yankee, if I was a guy
Right.
on the field and they're like, "Lou, as Brinson," like, "Hey, what's up?" Like I'm coming up with I'm coming up with a cool little gesture to the fans.
Hey, you know me, I'm okay with being a hater. All
Oh
my
yeah,
traditions had Grimace and all those things last
yeah,
season,
man,
so
it's
it's
all
all
good.
good.
Yeah, Flobo's a bad guy. Everybody knows
Right,
that.
right, right. I get booed every Monday and Thursday, man.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, but speaking of, man, just hanging with you the past hour has been cool just to pick your brain and someone who's actually been on the field and got booed and got cheered and got beloved. And I appreciate this, man. I hope Cheats can put me in the rotation every couple of weeks, man. It's kind of cool to sit and chop it up with you.
Oh no, yeah, man, this is awesome. Like I said, man, you always bring the energy, and to that point, to that point, they probably don't remember the Giants fans, but when I got to the Giants, when I played for the Giants in 2022, I got traded. My first game with the Giants, I got a standing ovation. Same crowd
Oh,
that booed me. Now it's not the
wow.
exact same crowd, but I stepping up in that ballpark, and I knew I was gonna go pinch hit. I'm like, man, I got last time I was here, I got booed. Or like I remember when I got booed by this whole crowd, and then
Yeah.
now stepping up to the at bat, my first at bat as a Giant, I got a standing ovation. It was crazy.
Was that one of the top memories of your career, just being cheered at that park? Or
Yeah, low key,
yeah,
yeah, because I
yeah.
had never gotten really. The only time I've gotten a standing ovation is the first time I made my home debut in Milwaukee, when I was a rookie. When I was with the Marlins, my first at bat with the Marlins, kind of got a standing ovation just because of hometown kid, and that time
Wow.
with the Giants. So yeah, just remembering that, it was kind of ironic. I'm like, oh man, you guys used to boo me, and now I'm getting a standing ovation.
It's
So,
like the drop a
but
diss
yeah,
track.
yeah, man, it was kind of weird, but yeah, Flobo, like I said, man, always bringing energy, very knowledgeable, man. I love talking ball with you, bro.
No, for
Yeah,
sure.
hopefully, Cheats, if you're still watching, man, get Flobo on here as one of our illustrious guests.
Yo, let's do this.
For
But
Thursday, man. Yeah.
before I turn the lights off, we gotta thank again Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, promo code BBM, number game scorecard, promo code BBM, Stilo Sports, the Players Alliance, Minority Prospects, and Red, Black, and Green Baseball. Learn more at blackbaseballmixtape.com. What are you doing this weekend, Lou? Where can I find you? What are you working on? How can I follow you on the social medias? How does that work?
Social medias. I got one social media. I got Instagram. Hakuna
Okay.
Matata 25. You can search that up on Instagram. But no, I'm playing more golf this weekend, hanging out with the family. Getting ready for some opportunities coming up for me. I'm really excited about, and just again getting these reps. These are reps for me. So I love coming on here talking ball, and I eventually again want to get in the media space. So I'm working towards that every day, trying to get better at that.
Man, listen, let's talk about golf real quick before we hit this out here. Because I go to Top Golf as one in town, and it's kind of fun. But the problem is I'm left-handed, right? And so you
Oh
go to
man.
Top Golf and ask for left-handed clubs. It's like a problem. They're like, can
Yeah,
you
they're
wear
like,
left-hand golf
like,
clubs in day 11? It's like,
they're like,
hey,
can you
hey.
dust off the can you dust off the lefty clubs for this weirdo over here?
I know, man. I was born this way, bro. Why y'all
But
hating
yeah,
on me?
lefty club, yeah, especially at Top Golf, it's like,
Yeah.
really, dude,
I
you're
know, right? Like
lefty.
I'm not messing around. All right, yo, this is the Black Baseball Mixtape. We back next week with more content. Check out 10th Inning Talk with All About April. Check out In the Booth with Flobo Boyce with this guy coming you at every other Monday. It's going to be a good time. Support the brand. Tell a friend. Share the content. Until next.